Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan, Wayne Knight, Billy West, D. Bradley Baker, and Danny DeVito, directed by Joe Pytka. Excuse me. Now, I have seen this movie lots of times as a kid, as I was a kid from the 90s, so let's see if it still works to this day. Let's get into it. As I'm looking forward to the new Space Jam movie, but I'm curious. Let's get into it. As a kid in summer 1973, Michael Jordan is playing basketball as he's a pro, and his dad comes out in the middle of the night and shoots a perfect shot every single time until he flies, and we see images of him playing professional basketball. And I like the opening as we see Michael as a kid and recap of all of his basketball career as he retires from professional basketball to play professional baseball. And we move on to Moron Mountain, led by Swackhammer, voiced by Danny DeVito, talking to his little alien minions about how the customer is always right as he asks them to get the Looney Tunes to bring him to Moron Mountain, while Michael is terrible at baseball, and we get Stan, let me see if I say this right, Podolak, played by Wayne Knight from Seinfeld, who's now Michael's assistant, and the alien spaceship flies by the basketball stadium and arrives near Bugs Bunny and capture him and tell him to gather up the Looney Tunes and I am cracking up in the Looney Tunes sequence, and the Michael Jordan scenes with the dog Charles licking Michael was kind of cute. But it's not as great as the Looney Tunes stuff, in my opinion. But let's move on. And Michael's wife, Juanita, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and the kids, Jeff, Marcus, and Jasmine, as they watch the news on the TV, and Michael puts on some cartoons for the kids, which is a nice scene to see Michael as a family man. Bugs brings all the Looney Tunes together as the aliens tell them they're prisoners, and they think of a way to get out of a slavery challenge them to a basketball game, and the aliens watch their first basketball game and grab the players' talent, which are interesting scenes, and the Looney Tunes scenes are amusing for the kids as the aliens grow into something huge as they're called the Monstars. And I love the way the green Monstars says, "Time to play a little basketball," and then he just throws it on the ground. It was pretty funny, actually. I always quote that, and Bugs says they think they're going to need a little help. Michael plays golf with Bill Murray and Larry Bird with Stan, and Bugs uses a magnet and grabs Michael to the Looney Tunes world, which is an interesting choice as this movie leads to something pretty funny and the animation is clever at best. Bugs explains the story about the aliens to Michael Jordan and tells him they need his help as he's a baseball player, and it works great if you're a kid of the 1990s like I am to now, and Michael wants to help out, but he can't because he hasn't played in a long time, and he meets the Monstars as they make Michael into a ball, which is freaky looking, but it looks pretty bad, and messes with Michael, and he decides to play some basketball with the Looney Tunes, which will turn out to be fun. Charles Barkley plays basketball with some kids as his talent is gone, and some other players are having a hard time getting their talents back thanks to those Monstars, and check into hospitals to see they lose their talent from playing basketball, which was kind of a letdown scene, I'll say. The Looney Tunes don't know how to play some basketball, and Lola Bunny does as she joins the team and plays briefly with Bugs, and as he and Daffy Duck go to Michael's house to go get his basketball gear. And Bugs goes inside smoothly while Daffy gets encountered by the dog, and they grab Michael's basketball gear as one of the kids wakes up and finds Bugs and Daffy in their house and tell the rest of them not to tell anybody about Michael playing with the Looney Tunes, which is a pretty funny scene. Stan sees Bugs and Daffy going into their world, and Stan follows them while watching Michael playing a little basketball and stays in Looney Tune land, and with Michael helping out with the basketball game. Meanwhile, some players who lost their talent see a sidekick as they don't believe Michael and the Looney Tunes playing against the Monstars, and as the game is about to begin, and a couple of nice mice introduce the Looney Tunes and Michael as the Toon Squad versus the Monstars. Game begins, and Swackhammer is in the audience, and the Monstars are kicking the Toon Squad's booty while the Toon Squad scores a few points, and the Monstars score a heck of a lot of points. And Swackhammer visits the Monstars as Stan learns the Monstars stole the talent from the NBA players, which is a rough first half as it's a fun basketball sequence. Michael makes a speech to win the game, and they come out for the second half while they play rather well and they score points as much as the Monstars. And the reference to an adult movie, what I won't bring up, was rather funny. Michael makes a deal with Swackhammer. If the Toon Squad wins, the NBA players get their talent back, and if the Monstars win, he'll go with him to Moron Mountain and lose every single one of one-on-one games with the customers of Moron Mountain, as Swackhammer orders to crush this Toon Squad as pieces, and they're unfortunately successful, which is a cheating, but I'm enjoying not only the basketball game, but as much time I spend with the Looney Tunes. Michael calls Stan into the game while he passes it to Stan, and the Monstars crush him, and he makes a shot while being crushed and is taken to the medic with 10 seconds left, and they get Bill Murray as the fifth player, as Swackhammer calls him Dan Aykroyd, as it's funny because they've worked with each other before in Ghostbusters, which I'll get to later this year if that new film ever comes out, as they play the remaining 10 seconds with Bill Murray works out as Michael makes a shot with an elastic arm, because he was in Looney Tune land, and they win the game as Bill Murray retires from the game after the remaining 10 seconds, which is a miracle, and Swackhammer abuses the Monstars, and after Michael tells them they're bigger than he is, the Monstars put Swackhammer in a spaceship and blast off from Looney Tune land and give back the NBA players' talent back by touching the basketball, and they shrink, and they beg the Looney Tunes to let them stay with them as they're not loony enough, as they act briefly like the Looney Tunes, which was pretty hilarious as I enjoyed myself in the Looney Tunes land. Stan takes Michael back to his baseball game and arrives in a spaceship to his baseball game, visits the NBA players and gives them their talent back. And he quits baseball and goes back to basketball and plays his first game back. And this climax is a heck of a lot of fun. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.1 out of 10. This is a heck of a lot of fun as a movie featuring Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, as I enjoy being in Looney Tune land, as they're the best thing about the movie. The movie is quite funny, as I enjoy the plot, as is memorable, as it still works as a childhood to my adulthood from growing up in the 1990s, and the references are clever. This is a classic family film with a basketball player and the Looney Tunes, as I'm really curious to see if the new movie works out as much as this movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Looney Tunes back in action. And until next time, let's play some basketball.